Hi, welcome back to MOAB, Making Music on a Budget. This time we're going to talk about lyrics. I don't really have any funny skit. So people, let's just get into it. Hi, this is the first part of a new MOAB series on the fundamentals of music making called Where to Begin. All of the topics are based on questions and challenges you shared. So we're going to start with lyrics. Why lyrics? Because lyrics are my happy place. You may know I play the drums, but I'm a really sloppy drummer. I like playing the piano, but it's really not good. I write songs, but I sometimes have the suspicion that I've been writing the same kind of 3 songs for the last decades, just in a different key and with different lyrics. Also, as a singer, I love singing, but it never sounds quite like I hear it in my head. But I never struggled with lyrics. I've always been writing them. People actually respond to them quite positively. You know, they resonate. So if you're interested in lyrics in general, or maybe even want to improve your own lyric creation process, let me try to inspire you. Lyrics for me are a fascinating subject. Let's leave aside lyrics written by committee for a political or for a commercial purpose. Lyrics usually are driven by an emotion, and it could be joy or love or hatred or loss or depression or just being bored. To prepare for this video, I've been thinking about this for quite some time, and I think there are 2 types of inspirations for lyrics. One is intrinsic, meaning it comes from a real first-hand emotion. You experience something good or bad, and you need to put it into words to move on. You know, you are tired of life, or you're hungry for life, or you're just tired, or just hungry, or you want to make people dance, or you want somebody to come back to you. That's all intrinsic. So the second type would be extrinsic, something you've heard, somebody told you, you watched a documentary, you read a book. So you're using a feeling that has been invoked, basically a second-hand feeling, by something that hasn't been experienced by yourself, which is also fine. I sometimes feel it's a bit tricky to pull off because it can sound preachy or inauthentic. Let's break it down a bit more to see what kind of lyrics we can find. We can find lyrics about somebody that made you feel a certain way. Another type of lyrics I can think of is to use a real emotion or a real experience and to use it as the theme or the motive, to put it into a different setting or to use it as an analogy. So a lost love could become the last days of summer, or drug addiction might become a stairway to heaven. Sometimes lyrics just describe a magical reality you wish were true. Then there are lyrics that are a call to action, to start doing something or stop doing something.
Get up, stand up.
Very often lyrics, especially in love songs, contain a promise to somebody.
Take you just the way you are. Lean on me.
Another type of lyrics would be to ask a question to somebody or to the fates.
Why does it always rain on me?
Other songs have a diagnosis of society. And sometimes they're just a description of a real event. Or they just tell a story of an event that could have happened. Then there are lyrics that describe a drug or a trip.
Golden brown, fine temptress.
And sometimes you have lyrics that just use words that are fun to sing or that are really rhythmically interesting. Of course, you have lyrics with just the name. And you have lyrics as satire or parody. Some lyrics just describe the attributes of somebody you love or desire. You see, I could go on, right? We're just scratching the surface. So moving on to the question of how to create lyrics that are truly a reflection of your own creativity and basically of yourself. Lyrics in an ideal setting are like poems. You know, of course, I'm going to exclude songs where the music does the heavy lifting and they don't really make sense without it. But a lot of great lyrics can be recited without music. So where to begin? You can either start conceptually and say, this is the type of song I want to write, a love song or a call to action. Or you can try, and this is what I usually do, to first define the emotion you want to convey. You know, what is it that makes you want to write this song? Is it loss? Is it love? Is it anger? Is it horniness? Could be anything really. Of course, you can skip that step and move directly into the creation, especially if you have a melody or a chord progression that makes it easier. If nothing comes to mind, I would try to go back to the emotion and imagine a word or a place or a person or a feeling that is strongly tied to that emotion, you know, or to that experience. Just one thing. And you may need to give it time to really let the word come to you. And once you have that word, try to connect it to another word that sounds good alongside it. Then maybe give it some time, put it in your mouth, speak it, you know, like a fruit drop or a lozenge, you know, move it around in your mouth for the mouth feel and see how does it feel if I say this word or if I sing this word. So what I'm usually trying to do is to find one word, to put another next to it, and then to slowly expand it into a group or a cluster of words, very often, of course, a sentence, that somehow feels good in a sequence. You know, I don't trip over any word if I say it. I don't stub my toe if I sing it, basically, right? So it comes together. There's a certain gravity of the words that pull it together, and they somehow seem to belong together. It might still need changing. Sometimes I start in a certain place and then I move to a different place, but I really needed to start here to then come up with this type of lyrics or with this expression. Of course you can use idioms, but I strongly recommend subverting the meaning somehow, because you will just add to the pile of 100 or 1,000 songs that are called "Not All That Glitters Is Gold" or "The Grass Is Always Greener on the Other Side," and that's not what you want, because then it's not, you know, a reflection of your real feeling. You know, there's got to be something that is different from other songs. By the way, you don't need to decide yet whether this is a verse or a chorus if you come up with the first lines of your song. I would just play around with it, and when it comes to the meaning, I would try to focus on one point you want to make in one part, and then maybe move on to the next part and try to add a different dimension, or maybe add a counterpoint or something that subverts it. So there are two things I try to avoid when writing lyrics, and if we're talking about the meaning or the content, I try to avoid overloading it with too many ideas. So ideally one idea per part, per verse or per chorus or per, you know, bridge. And then I try to avoid having the same idea repeat again and again. You know, even if you write a dance song, I think you would say, let's go to the dance floor, but then you would talk about something else, about the clothes or the feeling or the sweat or whatever, right? So you need to mix it up a bit. Especially in the chorus, I think the idea you can express is usually simpler. One last thing to consider, give it time to mature. Make it easy, keep it simple. Don't try to force words into a corset of an idea or of a point you want to make. It simply won't sound good. I think certain lyrics come out of you. You don't make them. They just want to be written. Take your time, sing it, hum it, recite it, whistle it, you know, just to get a feeling of what needs to be changed, what needs to be edited. Do I need to take a little bit off here? You know, it's a process that could take half an hour or weeks sometimes, but you will feel when it's right. It's a bit like a magical, it's a bit like alchemy, as I said in another video. Just think about it as reaching your hand into a magical well on the floor, and you can't really see what you're pulling out, but you see that it's shiny and you want to get it out. So you are grasping it and you're pulling it out, and you can't really see the full shape until you uncover the whole thing. And that's basically any kind of creation, whether it's music or art or lyrics. So long story short, and of course it's a bit of a trite thing to say, you will have to find your own process. But you will only find your own process if you put a bit of intention behind it, make mistakes, and then, well, get better at doing something. So here are my tips. Explore the real emotions rather than trying to just tell a story. Let the words guide you and don't force them. Being fun to sing always trumps self-serious messaging. Lastly, a song is not a novel, so don't overload it. Just keep it simple, something that is fun to sing or makes you cry when you sing it, which is also fine. Anyway, that's my 2 cents about writing lyrics. Listen to my songs, see whether you like them, what you would do differently. In the next installments, we're going to tackle things like how to stay motivated, how to practice, how long to keep working on a song, before you think now it's done. Okay, thank you so much for joining me for another video. I'll see you next time. MOAB.